Segu, sawaguego. Katsitsakwas na yun jats tano waganyato. Kanya kahaga kento tatano kanasata ganaganagere. With kunuaratos. Hi, my name is Ellen Gabriel, and I am Turtle Clan from the people of the Flint, known as Mohawk, and I come from the community of Ganasadage, known as Oka as well. It would be an honor and privilege to be the representative advocate for the Assembly of First Nations. It is my intention to run because I think it's time for women to take their place, but as well, I would like to offer my skills to the Aboriginal peoples in Canada of my experience, starting from the 1990 Oka crisis to today. Some of you may remember me as the spokesperson for Ganasadage during the 1990 Oka crisis. I was chosen by the Longhouse and the community to negotiate and speak on their behalf during that time. Since then, I have been an advocate for our rights, Indigenous peoples' rights. I have made numerous presentations to the parliamentary committees, to Senate committees, to the Quebec National Assembly. I have presented in Europe and Japan, and all about our rights, because I'm a proud Indigenous person. I'm a Gwahua, and I come from a long line of proud people who have tried to resist the oppression of colonization in our communities. I was also the president of Quebec Native Women's Association for 6.5 years, where I have received a lot of experience in dealing with government, in dealing with the policies, and advocating for our rights. I've also attended international conferences like the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Peoples, which runs every year for 2 weeks, advocating for women's rights at that time, and also for my community of Ganasadage to try and stop the development that is increasing more than ever now in our community. I've also attended the Convention on Biodiversity's negotiations on the Nagoya Protocol, which I think is one of the most dangerous protocols, dispossessing Indigenous peoples of their genetic resources, their rights to lands and territories, and their traditional knowledge. And I last year attended the Expert Mechanism on the Rights of Indigenous People, which does studies. And we know that studies help influence policies. And I think it's time that Indigenous people start creating their own studies, creating our own policies to help build up our nation's foundations. What I'd like to do at the Assembly of First Nations is have a true and honest discussion in a lot of the issues that I've been hearing about, like getting rid of the Indian Act, implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, the legislation for education. I want the community members, as well as their chiefs or their representatives, to have full and effective participation in decisions that are affecting our rights. For too long, we have been at the mercy of people who are bureaucrats, who perhaps tried in their best in their own ways to help us. But it really, the power and the strength of advocating for our rights comes from the people, and I think that's where we need to start. We need to pick the brains of the academics who know the issues, who know how to help us create a process that of how do we consult with all the communities across Canada. We can't do it just online. How can we do it in a way that really reflects the needs and the desires of our peoples? And have women part of this process. For too long we've been put to the side, and I think we bring a different perspective on all the issues, the serious issues that affect our people. Not just the social problems, but some of the solutions. I think women are there at the forefront of many communities trying to create those solutions, and we need to hear the voices of those who are marginalized. We need to hear the youth. We need to have the elders guiding us and teaching us the knowledge, the languages, everything about what they went through in times that are very different from what we are living today. There is something that's really important to me as a human being, and that is speaking for Mother Earth. I think it's really important that we really understand what is going on around us in regards to development, the kind of pesticides that are used for the food that we eat. We're killing the insects, we are killing bats, we are killing the birds, and we wonder why we have so much cancer in our communities. We have to look at the environment. We have to take care of it. We talk about being proud as Indigenous peoples, our respect for the earth, that those teachings our ancestors taught us. So we have to look beyond the tiny little pieces of reserve land that was supposedly granted to us by the Crown. And we have to look at our traditional territories and beyond to be part of the movement, this global movement of trying to preserve the earth in a good way for future generations to enjoy. Because let's face it, the world will be here, Mother Earth will be here long after human beings are extinct. So let's really examine how development is affecting us as human beings, but let's also be proud Indigenous self-determining peoples and protect the earth and all our relations who live with us. And I think it's really important for people to remember, we are Indigenous people. What does that mean? It means we love the earth. It means we respect the earth. Our identity is linked to the earth. And we are not separate from it. And we have to remember that as Indigenous or Okwahua people. My platform is really about rebuilding those pillars of our nations. Nation building, what does that mean? It means really significant and strong support for our languages and culture, not just project driven, but real funding. It means taking back our control of our own destiny, getting the funding that Ottawa withholds from us every single year, becoming true self-determining people in a way that future generations will say, this is the legacy they left us, and we're happy and we're proud of what the work that they did, to have sustainable, environmentally friendly development, to have education that is based upon our values, our languages, our cultures, but also promotes the sciences and technologies that youth need to survive in today's world. We need a new relationship with the federal government and all the other Crown actors, the provinces and territories and municipalities, because as the Royal Commission said in 1995, the relationship is broken. Well, it's been almost 20 years later. The relationship is still broken. We've had an apology, which has meant nothing because the status quo remains. I think it's the people that will decide. It's not unilateral decisions made by the federal government. It's Indigenous peoples, as self-determining peoples. We have that right to do that, to change that relationship. It's not up to Mr. Harper sitting in Ottawa. It's up to us as Indigenous peoples to take that back from them.